Hello, Katy ISD, and welcome back. Can you believe we are already here at the cusp of the 2022-2023 school year? This school year, we welcome back over 11,000 teachers, maintenance, operations, campus support, law enforcement, and administrative staff, and more than 90,000 Katy ISD students. From Taylor to Maid Creek to Jordan to Pato, our district is home to over 74 campuses and facilities, but you are what makes it feel like family 172 days of the year. To our teachers and other staff, we hope you enjoyed some well-deserved time off this summer. We missed your energy, but know how important it is to have time to decompress and spend quality time with family and friends. We look forward to your invaluable contributions to our schools, students, families, and community as we step into the promise of a new school year ready to create the future. To our administrative and support staff who worked all summer to build curriculums, complete campus improvement projects, onboard new staff, lead professional learning, prepare instructional materials, update technology infrastructure, provide summer meal service, and participate in trainings to keep students and staff safe, you are a vital component of our school district's foundation. We couldn't do what we do without each and every one of you. I'd like to address a few topics over the next 20 minutes or so. They include moving beyond COVID, school safety, Katy ISD's reputation as a community of excellence, the district's strategic planning, staff culture and climate, enrollment growth, and the district's plan to sustain teacher and staff pay increases. We are at a point of reflection as we begin our new school year. As we move into the fall semester, and yes, I know it doesn't feel like the fall with the temperatures we've been experiencing, but as we begin this semester together, we cannot help but take note of the formative events of the past few years. I think it's fair to say that we have put the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic and other challenges that followed behind us. Over the past 29 months, we have weathered a global health crisis, separations between families, friends, and coworkers, environmental impacts such as deep freezes, and emotional and work-related stressors that have challenged but not defeated our Katy ISD community. As we move forward into the new school year, I'm confident that our employees, who have so capably navigated these challenges, are positioned to sustain the world-class education and safe and supportive learning environments for which you have been so crucial to creating. The health and safety of our Katy ISD employees, your families, and our thousands of students will always be our #1 priority. This school year, our campuses will see updated health guidelines posted across facilities that outline recommendations to contend with infectious and communicable diseases. The health guidelines are meant to inform staff, students, and families of the safest possible method to conduct our school year while remaining in compliance with state orders. Our emergency operations team carries out regular reviews of local and state guidance and will communicate new information and recommendations throughout the year as needed. And I know that our employees, students, and families are also concerned about the physical safety of our campuses. Our school community was devastated by the events that took place in Uvalde this past spring. Our prayers and condolences will forever go out to the families and the people impacted. Schools are supposed to be safe places for learning and growing. With that said, I'd be remiss by not reminding our staff about what we do here in Katy to minimize the potential for external threats. As part of our safety procedures, our district has an emergency operations plan that is frequently reviewed and updated annually. All campuses have a designated safety liaison who meets on a regular basis with our district's emergency management team to prepare for potential crisis. All campuses have entryway vestibules that establish controlled access to our buildings, while all exterior doors are required to remain locked throughout the day. There are sign-in procedures for any and all individuals who visit our campuses. And this year, that will include our volunteer family as we begin rollout of our Raptor Volunteer Registration Initiative, which will provide an additional layer of protection for our Katy ISD students, staff, volunteers, and visitors as we continue to prioritize the safety and security of our entire Katy ISD family. Also, as you know, all Katy ISD schools conduct regular safety drills that include lockdown, lockout, evacuate, and shelter. And throughout this past spring and summer, the police department has continued to actively recruit, hire, and train new officers to ensure a visible police presence across the district this fall. Over the past few years, Katy ISD has also invested significant time and resources into addressing student well-being. Our district's crisis intervention team, which is comprised of police officers, counselors, school psychologists, and social workers, all trained in behavioral health, directly respond to incidents that involve mental health and potential safety risks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Remember, together, we are the most powerful and protective force across our community and schools. If you see something, hear something, or even suspect something, speak up and let our teams and partner agencies do the rest of the work to keep our schools as safe as possible. Despite the many challenges public schools across the country are navigating, last year, Katy ISD was named the #1 school district in the Houston area by Niche, a national ranking organization of K-12 schools. We also earned the recognition as the 8th best employer in Texas by Forbes and secured a superior achievement by the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Likewise, student achievement across our campuses continued to reflect the district's reputation for excellence. Our students were recognized at the state and national levels for accomplishments in academics, FFA, career and technical industries, athletics, and fine arts. I don't have to tell you that we have a lot to celebrate. The depth of talent and skill among our employees has created thousands of personalized opportunities for our students, coupled with powerful moments when each of you connect with our learners, imparting knowledge and skills that will inform their life experiences and choices today and years to come. From science to symphony, from literacy to geometry, our Katy ISD teachers and staff consistently uphold the breadth and quality of instruction and support that is essential to meeting the needs of every child in our care. And time again, I see you committing to the art and science of teaching and student support by engaging in continuous professional development through reading academies, learning communities, technical seminars, leadership workshops, and other trainings. The level of success we see here in Katy does not happen without the daily dedication and heartfelt commitment consistently demonstrated by Katy ISD's extraordinary educators. Now, learning loss resulting from factors beyond our control is still a matter we must contend with. Educational disruptions early in the pandemic were one of the biggest threats to student learning and retention of foundational knowledge. So many of our students have required intensive supports to get back on track, and we've had to look at and implement new means to not only help students, but to aid, train, and provide resources to our teachers and schools so they too can be in the best position to provide meaningful learning experiences even in the face of challenges. Our teachers and instructional staff have persevered with remarkable flexibility, providing small group instruction, before school and after school support, and strategically aligned instructional materials, while also valuing and actively supporting the well-being of all learners. While full academic recovery from the pandemic is expected to be a concentrated, multi-year effort, we are well on our way. Provided with face-to-face instruction by highly skilled teachers, Katy ISD students as a whole achieved a 4-point increase in reading scores this year compared to 2021, with scores holding steady in math. Our students performed 17 points above the state at the MEETS level in reading and 19 above the state in math. Research indicates that full academic recovery in math will take longer than full academic recovery in reading, and our scores are consistent with the research. This promising data on our student recovery is a testament to Katy ISD's culture of nurturing greatness among every child. In Katy ISD, we are at the crossroad of where opportunity meets excellence. Every one of our unique learners has opportunities to create a fulfilling present and bright future through a wide range of academic and non-traditional learning experiences. This includes career and technical education, agricultural sciences, fine arts, athletics, numerous student organizations, and multiple pathways to graduation. There is a road to success for every student in Katy ISD. Much of our work to improve student outcomes is achieved through the framework that integrates all dimensions of our mission, our district-wide strategic plan. We are in our second cycle of strategic planning as a district, having completed our first ever strategic plan this past spring. Our goals remain the same, with a continued focus on personalized learning, customized resources, meaningful assessments, digital infrastructure, recruitment and retention, strategic partnerships, and student well-being. However, our objectives have evolved with the needs of our students, teachers, employees, and community. Over the course of this year, for example, our teaching and learning teams will conduct a mid-cycle review of our current elementary instructional resources for phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Specifically, they will examine Katy ISD's literacy data sources and student performance to identify specific areas where we can begin to bridge the performance gap for some of our early learners. They will also review TEA's approved list of literacy resources for alignment with the TEKS and the science of reading. Recruiting a highly qualified teacher workforce also takes great precedence within our strategic plan. With the increasingly tight labor market for highly qualified teachers, our board and community have prioritized growing our own. Essentially, we have decided that if we cannot find all the teachers we want for our classrooms, we will play a driving force in helping to develop the best, most prepared instructional staff possible to serve our more than 90,000 students in 74 campuses. This year, our human resources and teaching and learning teams, alongside outside experts in the field, will begin planning and laying the groundwork for a Katy ISD Alternative Certification Program, or ACP. We anticipate submitting our ACP plan by December 2022 for TEA approval. School funding is also a major focal point for Katy ISD and for over 1,000 other public school systems across the state. New school finance laws have mandated reductions and caps to state funding and will result in Katy ISD losing millions in dollars this year that support the operations of our 74 campuses and facilities. This has produced a significant strain on our budget, which is already operating on a per-student basic allotment that has remained unchanged for the 4th year in a row. If you didn't know, the basic allotment is the legislatively mandated funding guaranteed for every child in the state. I'll provide an example of what I'm talking about here. Take a look at this chart. School districts that are growing at a rapid pace, like Katy ISD, receive fast growth allotment funds to accommodate for growth. That's the thick blue bar you see here. As our enrollment goes up, so does that allotment. This year, our fast growth allotment will be reduced by $8 million by the state. Not because we stopped growing, but because the state has earmarked that allotment as an area of funding it wants to cap across school districts. Now take a look at the gray bar. That's our instructional materials and technology allotment, which funds instructional resources and technology equipment and services. It has been defunded by 63%. Meanwhile, look at the inflation line. The U.S. inflation rate climbed just past 9% this summer, the highest it has been in decades. Inflation touches every area of school operations, from classroom supplies to cleaning products to teacher and staff pay. I'll say this, the state has instituted an emerging and what I consider alarming trend of capping state aid allotments. Simply put, these funding sources have been prorated downward due to state-imposed spending limits on public education funding. Our board, together with our employees, families, and community, are committed to addressing these school funding issues and other policy matters impacting student learning in Katy ISD head-on. We are committed to listening, engaging, and activating our school community's efforts to influence state policy that creates unforeseen barriers to student success. And you are central to these efforts. As we approach the 88th Texas legislative session, our school community has an opportunity to influence state-level decision-making processes that impact Katy ISD classrooms. Over the next few months, you may hear about our board-led listening circles. These will be small forums held throughout the district intended to help identify state education policy issues of common concern to build relationships and networks that can be tapped for advocacy work around identified issues and to encourage active civic engagement among our school community. The discussions that emerge from the listening circles will be used to inform the district's legislative priorities for this school year. You'll hear more details about this initiative over the coming months. When I began my tenure with Katy ISD, first as Deputy Superintendent, then as your Superintendent 5 years ago, one of my goals was to build upon the district's legacy of honoring our teachers and staff, not only for your classroom and district contributions, but in recognition of your needs as individuals and valued members of our school community. Last year, our district launched the Staff Culture and Climate Survey to continue moving us toward that goal. I realize that we rolled it out in the middle of a pandemic when a lot of other priorities were and continue to be at the forefront of the work we do. But let me tell you, this Culture and Climate Survey is a good tool. It has equipped our schools and district leaders with real-time feedback about the factors that impact your day-to-day work-life experiences, such as access to appropriate and adequate professional development, job satisfaction, and campus and department management. We all know through experience that a positive workplace culture improves our teamwork, overall morale, our ability to effectively complete goals and tasks, and importantly, minimizes stress and burnout. It enhances our overall quality of work life. This summer, we engaged our campus principals and department leaders in training that underscored the significance of employee well-being as it relates to these factors. We also took a look at strategies for effectively reviewing survey data and using that feedback to take actionable and timely steps to address concerns and needs identified. You see, much of what you share in the monthly Culture and Climate Survey influences district practices. I'm talking about practices at the classroom, campus, facility, and team levels. This includes how we build and shape support systems for our employees. Katy ISD's new teacher mentoring program, a multi-year initiative, and our leadership pipeline, which serves as a training ground for aspiring principals, are products of the thoughts and guidance you have provided. The fact is, our district thrives when every member of our school family thrives. Your voice is important to me, your colleagues, your supervisors, and the students we serve. When the monthly survey resumes later this fall, I am asking each of you to share your thoughts, experiences, and recommendations. It is a 2-minute commitment and completely anonymous. The goal of our board, administration, and campus leaders is to do everything we can to support a positive and enriching work-life experience for every employee who comprises our Katy ISD family. Now, let's talk about our learners. We are now seeing about 1,800 new kindergarten through 12th grade students enrolling in our schools annually. By 2028, Katy ISD is projected to gain approximately 11,000 new students, increasing the need for more teachers and staff and new campuses. Last year, our community approved 4 bond propositions to provide funding for 5 new schools, buses, technology improvements, safety and security infrastructure, and critical renovations for aging schools and facilities. This fall, we will open Steve and Elaine Robertson Elementary, the district's 44th elementary school. It serves our growing community on the west side of the district and provides relief to Bryant Elementary. Next fall, in 2023, we will open 2 more elementary campuses in the northwest quadrant as we continue to meet the fast and continuous growth of our destination district. Being a fast growth school district requires us to frequently review and sometimes adjust attendance boundaries to balance enrollment. This past July, administration presented our board with proposed attendance boundary modifications that could potentially impact some LUZs currently zoned to Bethke, Campbell, Galbo, Hutzel, Leonard, McElwain, and McRoberts, in anticipation of the opening of elementary schools number 45 and 46. Attendance boundary modifications ensure that our students have access to safe and engaging learning environments in properly resourced and efficiently utilized schools. Families who could potentially be impacted by the proposed ABM have been asked to provide input over the next few months as trustees consider the proposal. It is anticipated that a final ABM for those campuses will be determined later this fall. Other approaches we are employing to address growth and staffing challenges include the adjustment to our elementary bell schedule. Beginning August 17th, the district's elementary schools will operate under a 3-bell schedule. Tier A schools start at 7:50 a.m. Mid-tier campuses begin at 8:10 a.m. and Tier B has a school start time of 8:30 a.m. The updated elementary bell schedule will help us maximize bus routes, minimize service delays, and accommodate for driver shortages. Looking ahead, we expect to see our transportation systems and overall infrastructure to continue to evolve as our school community identifies new and more effective ways to meet the needs that arise from fast growth. And as many of you already know, because of that fast growth, Katy ISD is on a 3 to 4 year bond cycle to fund improvements to older campuses, build new schools, update technology, and address ongoing safety and security needs. As 2024 steadily approaches, we will likely turn to our community again to take a look at our enrollment and school improvement needs and together develop and determine the scope of a future bond program. You may recall that this past June, our Katy ISD Board of Trustees voted unanimously to approve a 5% midpoint increase for all district classroom teachers and hourly employees, and a 3% midpoint increase for all other employee categories. Every single one of our employees has taken care of Katy ISD students throughout the hardships of COVID, inflation, and other economic and personal stressors. Our board and administration's priority is to take care of you during these challenging times. Over the past year, the board has been discussing and reviewing options to provide additional support to teachers and staff where it counts the most, your wallet. Increasing teacher and staff pay is of high importance, so much so that we have made implementing a compensation plan that exceeds the market median for classroom teachers a primary objective within our 2-year strategic plan. The goal is to sustain market competitiveness to successfully support our current staff, as well as be in the position to recruit and retain additional educators. Our board and administration have made difficult budget decisions and even reductions where needed in order to move closer and closer to achieving that goal. As a result, the district currently has $12 million budget deficit that we will begin closing throughout the school year. If you have had an opportunity to listen to a few recent board meetings or have seen information on our website, you may be aware that alongside the budget actions already taken, another option available to a district that is in need of generating additional funds is a voter approval tax rate election, otherwise known as a TRE. TREs are utilized by school boards to raise the maintenance and operations tax rate to generate additional funds to sustain a workforce or for specific projects or programs. As I mentioned a bit earlier, recent changes to the school finance landscape have crippled large, fast-growth school districts like ours. On top of capped state aid allotments, Texas law now requires school districts to reduce their local M&O tax rates once they reach a certain level of property value growth. In our case, the state is expected to reduce Katy ISD's rate by 4.7 cents. However, with a TRE, we may be asking voters to sustain the current M&O tax rate. Revenue generated from a TRE would be exclusively used to increase teacher and staff pay and to hire additional educators to meet our fast growth. More information about TREs can be found on our district website. As a parent and educator, I'm excited about everything that will be possible this year for our children and school community. The challenges we have overcome the past 2 years have highlighted our strength and reinforced our resolve to answer our call to action as educators, ensuring that all Katy ISD learners have opportunities to achieve excellence. In Katy ISD, there is a world of opportunity. Our students have the opportunity to learn and be challenged every day in their classrooms, the opportunity to be educated by the most skilled, talented teachers, counselors, mentors, and coaches in the profession, the opportunity to be exposed to advanced learning technologies as early as kindergarten, the opportunity to learn outside of the 4 walls of their classrooms, be that in our theaters, on the field, or by way of career and technical experiences. Yet, we also know that the extent to which students capitalize on the opportunities before them is dependent upon all of us as educators. This is where opportunity meets excellence across our 74 campuses and facilities. Together, every one of us consistently rise up to help students connect with and make the most of the world-class opportunities available to Katy ISD learners, empowering them with the tools to discover their individual abilities to succeed. As we spend the next week preparing to welcome students back to our campuses, know that you have my heartfelt gratitude and admiration for the work you do each day to create our community of excellence. Thank you, and let's have a great school year.